Hello everyone, I'm Silent Death, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Science Harder Campaign. We are undocking our Minmus lander from our Minmus base. Is the right way? Yes, okay, we're using it. Can't really see it, but we're using it, and we want to go... Oh, no wonder we're doing the wrong thing. Well, that would explain it. We want to go land over here. So we're going to turn on you. And go this way a little bit. And then retrograde a little bit. Somewhere like this. Should have plenty of fuel for that. This way, I think. Trajectories, why aren't you showing me where I'm going to land? Display trajectory. Complete trajectories. There we go. Alright, so we picked up a few missions on Minmus, as I mentioned at the end of last episode. We need to make back some money from the satellite that we launched last episode, or the satellites. It was 200k to launch that vessel. And after I launched it, I realized that I forgot to put some of the Omni antennas on it. So we're going to have to repair it later this episode, I think. It's not the most efficient landing ever. But I wanted to get that while we were nearby. Alright, that's going to have to do for now. Now then, we will... Yeah, I guess we'll just hold retrograde for a little while. Fast forward a bit. And we will activate this. I don't know how close we need to be. Tell us on this. Scans. This one is... Oh, this one is just in flight below, so we don't actually have to land. Well, that was just doesn't... Okay. We would have crashed if we would have tried to do that, I'm pretty sure. Those mountains were high enough. I guess I should have checked that first. I just assumed I had to land. Okay, we need to move you a little bit over this way. And then a little bit faster. And we are entering the thing, and I have no idea what the... Okay, there we go. Materials. Temperature scan the data. Oops. No, I need to wait until I get lower. Go this way, raise our prograde marker, Okay, I think I want to get rid of that temperature thing. Review data. Discard it. Yeah, there we go. Reset experiment. We're being terribly inefficient. But we have like 1200 delta V, so it doesn't. It's just minimus. Let's see, our periapsis is still pretty low. Let's fast forward a little bit more. Cannot work faster below that. 600 meters. I think it was lights that we have everything bound to. Nope, brakes in. Alright, brakes it is. Lag there. Okay, quickly, let's get going somewhere else. This one. F65 is above 49, so we can just fly right by that. Heading. Almost crashed. That would have not been good. Might be going a little bit fast there. Yeah, that's a little bit fast. Well. Okay, I'm going to do this in fast forward mode. We'll hit all these up while we wait for our base contract to get closer or something like that. We do need to launch another vessel this episode, or this launch window, but this first. Now that I've finished all the chaos scripting, I've been spending the time between episodes working on upgrading to 1.0.4. I like what they did with the new re-entry system. I think it's better than deadly re-entry. It has the whole convection thing going on and heat transfer between parts, which deadly re-entry didn't have. I think they did a pretty good job with that. I'm not as fond of the aerodynamic system. I still think FAR is better in that case. So we'll be skipping deadly re-entry, which I don't think deadly re-entry does re-entry hitting anymore. It's just a config file now. But we will be leaving that off. We'll still have the parts from deadly re-entry to keep compatibility issues, but not the entire mod itself. With CCAN, most of the updating has been relatively painless. I did have to do a little bit of fiddling with some of the mods that aren't required anymore, like Regolith. Mostly it's just little mods like that, which were essentially plugins for other mods. And there were a few mods that just aren't available via CCAN, like the environmental visual mods. Some of those I've gotten by downloading manually. I don't remember where. Things like Hot Rockets too. Actually, I think Hot Rockets is now in CCAN. But most everything took, less than a couple of hours to update. Unfortunately, one big thing is being a problem, and that is the tech tree. The mod has claimed to update it, but not all the technologies or not all the parts are where they should be in the correct technologies. For instance, RemoteTech, you get the 400 gigameter satellite or gigameter antenna before you get any other antenna. And then the other antennas are spread out throughout the thing, so obviously there's a number of bugs with that. It's also not save game compatible, meaning they've changed the tech tree all kinds of ways. So I'm having to spend the time between episodes manually updating that, which is taking a very, very long time. It's a pretty big text file, and even with using regular expressions and find and replace, it takes an awfully long time to get all that done. I'm hoping to basically import the entire tech tree as much as possible into 1.0.4. That way we can just continue on. Though it's nice that they do have the tech tree config stuff. I guess you could call it better support for modding the tech tree. It's useful. It's not terribly different from Tech Manager, which was the mod that was handling that before. Tech Manager has no longer been updated, and you can't just recompile that so that you can update to the 1.0.4 thing, which is what I was hoping I could do, is just recompile Tech Manager and then keep using that. But nope, I have to do it manually. We have finished our missions on Minimus. Now up to 5.3 million Kerbal bucks. Now that we have some extra contract things, we're going to pick up the RemoteTech communication and network. That's a pretty valuable contract right there, and a nice advance. Since we already have the short-range ComSat on its way to Duna, should go ahead and do that. Then we're going to pick up the Explorer Ike contract, because we're probably going to have a satellite go around Ike in the near future, and we don't want to miss this. We'll hold off on both the Eve contracts for now, in case we need to do a little bit more fundraising in the near future. Hopefully, once we get all of these done, we'll be close to enough to upgrading our research facility. But let's head over to the VAB. We'll start by looking at the contracts that we have already completed. So, visual surveys of Minimus, 123,001 science. Then 20k 1 science, 123k and 1 science, 20k 1 science, 133k and 1 science, 16k 1 science, again and again and again and again and again and again, and 0 science there, and again and again, and 20k 1 science, 16k. Okay, that was it. Most of those were pretty much the same. We have 6 days until the base contract enters Minimus, and 11 days until the short-range ComSats enter Duna. We have a little bit over 2 hours for this launch window, and we still have an available rocket to launch. So we're going to design something for that. Starting with this lovely RCS tank. We want to design a short-range ComSat for Eve. So we're going to go with RCS, SAS, and a probe core. Then, let's see what size the batteries look like. Just put on a whole bunch of batteries. This should be a pretty basic probe. Now we'll need some RCS. 4 of those. And just some solar panels. The long ones. Stick those right in there, and just a simple antenna should be enough. So one of the Omni ones. Right about like that. We want to have this small enough that we can launch it via a space plane. Looks like we have enough generation going on there. And I think that's going to be our short-range satellite. Let's... Here we are. See if there's any problems there. Nope, doesn't look like it. Looks fine to me. Relation. A little bit of a tilt that way, but whatever. Might could do a little bit better by this way. I don't think it's worth the effort. Okay, you can go away. And we'll want to design a lander for both Eve and one for Gilly. I'm going to go with the fuel tank for both of them. And I think we'll go with the Rocco Max engine here. In fact, why don't we let's put this in the sub-assemblies for now. Use your range. Like 5 million meters, one of those. I can't change it right now. I'll just do COM32. That'll tell me what I need to know. There it is. So we can get rid of you. And restart that. There you are. Now you do your thing. We want some SAS. Kinda wish we had some of the smaller fuel tanks right now, but we don't. How much Delta V is that? Okay, that's a ton of Delta V, and that should be all we need for either of those. We're going to put on one of these. We'll just kind of squeeze that on here. You're going to want some landing gear, especially for Eve, not so much for Gilly, but for Eve. Where's the landing gear? Right here? Do we even have any landing gear? We may not. We need some batteries. I thought I had some of the micro landing gear at least. Oh, there we go. There's some landing gear. I think we'll go with 4 because I want to use the same satellite or the same thing for both Eve and Gilly, just to save effort. That should work for that much. You're going to want a heat shield for the Eve one. We can ignore it for the Gilly one. And I have no idea where those are. Okay. Conic heat shield. That actually looks pretty cool. Even though it's going to get very hot. Some solar panels. Shouldn't need that many. Should be more than enough. And some parachutes for the Gilly, or not the Gilly one, but the Eve one. And we'll just remove them for the Gilly one. I think 2 should be enough. Let's go action groups. Click on you. We want Eve. We want you to land at touchdown. Parachutes use 2. Not 21, but 2. Use the wet mass. And apply settings. There we go. Now let's see what that does to our Delta V. Still good enough, I'm pretty sure. What if we cranked this up all the way? Okay, that's actually pretty heavy. 120 kilobytes. You know what? I'm going to keep you just like that. 900 will have to work. I think we could probably fit this in a space plane. 2 of these. Okay, the one that's going to Eve will need less fuel and it'll have less Delta V. The one that's going to Gilly, we drop that off. Doesn't really change anything. Maybe we have to click away first. Nope. Okay, what if we do that? Really, that has no effect? Okay. It doesn't have an effect. So one of these for Gilly, one of these for Eve, and I'm thinking 6 of the short-range satellites. Question becomes, how are we going to arrange them to a stack? So obviously it doesn't look like these 2 can stack on top of each other because these little landing gear get in the way, unless we're to rotate these. Out to something like that. That might work. In fact, that should work. Okay, that is what we'll do. Now let's see if I can arrange something. I've decided to go ahead and launch this with rockets, or as a rocket instead of space plane, due to the fact that the payload was a little bit large for a space plane, and I was kind of worried about the landing gear getting caught inside of a cargo bay. Also, it allows us to launch it during this launch window, so we can use the next launch window for something else. It came to about 140K cost for all this parts. Not really that heavy of a rocket at about 60 metric tons. And it has a fairly decent thrust to weight ratio from the start. So that should allow us for a more fuel efficient launch. Though we do have to be careful with the large payload, and we're of course using our newfangled fairings. For the payload, I've put the Gilly satellite on top and the Eve satellite, or the Gilly lander and Eve lander, on the bottom. And in between the two landers are all the short-range satellites. So what we'll do is we'll do a gentle aero brake once we enter Eve's sphere of influence, enough to get us captured. And then we can eject the Gilly satellite and go for a more aggressive aero braking. Then the short-range satellites will pop off from the top, allowing us to use whatever remaining fuel we have for just what is it? Getting the satellites up and stuff. I think that should work. I'm not 100% certain. But we'll have to wait and see. Still have a ways to go. Back at our mem space, Bob is going to hop out and get all the science and stick it in his little taxi thing. Now we'll pop off the lander. And we'll also pop off Bob here. Leaving just Jinby in the station. Go ahead and turn on SAS for the station, I guess. Now then, Bob. You can decouple this node. Should give you a little bit of a boost, since we've drained all the RCS fuel out. And we'll switch back to this. Give you a little bit of that. Go ahead and do this. Can I target this? Set as target. There we go. Now, according to this, docking the right way. That, turn off that. There we go. Now then, back to Bob. And we'll send Bob, who's having a panic attack, off to Kerbin with all of his science. And with that, we are going to end this episode. Like if you like, subscribe if you're not, leave a comment if you have anything to say. I do read all the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.